in that direction. In our planning process, working with the Metropolitan Police, we had agreed up until the 3rd of September, 6 days ago, we had agreed that we would march to the end of that road and we would go 1/3 of a mile in that direction. Now, the police then put conditions on our march. During this time, Luther Rahman, who is the mayor of Tower Hamlets, okay, he was kicked out of the Labour Party for his extremist views. His spiritual advisor has declared all non-Muslims as filthy cattle. This is the man that is in charge of a £1 billion budget of that London borough. We keep getting told that Tower Hamlets is a Muslim borough. It's a Muslim area. There is no such thing in this country as a Muslim area. There is no such thing. Those streets are streets in our capital city. We are a Christian country which has a diverse population. It is not a Muslim area. This is the 4th time in 4 years we've tried to enter Tower Hamlets. The first time on a demonstration where we had to stand here last time because the Home Secretary banned us. The second time on my stag do when I was with 40 of my friends, we had caused no trouble and the Metropolitan Police Force dragged us all out one by one from a pub. They drove us to different sides and different police stations across the capital. They held us for 4 hours, then they let us go. The next time, whoever watched our charity walk, mine and myself, Kevin, doing a charity walk. Everyone would have seen that some person who probably was working for the police hit Kev Carroll. Now we're in court. We're in court on Wednesday for obstructing police in their duty. Now the police's duty is to enforce the law. That is their duty. If 2 people wish to go on a charity walk which takes them down a road, their job is not to prevent us, and that's what they've done, and now they've charged us. The person who actually assaulted Kevin, he's not in court, he's not been prosecuted, we're in court. And the whole reason why they've put us in court is to give us bail conditions. Similar to these conditions we're all on today. Our bail conditions are, we are not allowed to enter the borough of Tower Hamlets. Now, when we went to court, we challenged these conditions. When we had legal advice on Tuesday, our legal advice was that if the people who wish to commit the violence are the counter-protesters, if that is accepted, then the police's job is to enforce our democratic rights to freedom of assembly, our democratic rights, our human rights. All these police officers here today, they're not here for us. They're here for that hostile, violent Muslim crowd that's standing down that road. What we are now seeing in the year 2013, which is a terrifying place where we're at, is that once a community gets a 35% Muslim population, because that's all it is, 65% of that community down there is non-Muslim. Once 35% is Muslim, you are not allowed to enter into that community if you wish to criticise Islam. Now, anyone who understands Sharia, the whole thing we're protesting about is the fact that we feel Sharia is being implemented in that community. Under Sharia, you have blasphemy laws. Blasphemy laws is that no one can criticise Islam. What the Metropolitan Police Force have done is they have created a zone enforcing blasphemy laws where we are not allowed to enter that community. David Cameron, he will not talk about Islam in this country, but he'll talk about it in Syria. They'll talk about it in Syria. David Cameron wants to help the Muslims in Syria. He wants to help the Muslims in Tower Hamlets. The whole time he ignores the Christians in Syria and he ignores the English people in Tower Hamlets. Our government, how many times can it be in history that the people of this country find themselves supporting what the Russian president is saying and the Syrian president is saying over our own political leaders? How many times? Chemical weapons. Who's saying that Assad is using chemical weapons? The people that want to bomb his country? The people who want to invade Syria? I don't want our British armed forces dying and suffering in Syria. What's happening in Syria is religious. It's to do with sectarianism within Islam. It's nothing to do with us. And what we're seeing, if anyone's seen that video this week where a van was pulled over, where the rebels that our government want to support pulled them out of their car and they asked them which sect of Islam they were. When they were a different sect, they assassinated them in the back of the head. Now, if they're doing that to fellow Muslims, what do you think they're doing to the 10% of Christians that are living in Syria? David Cameron and our elected leaders, Tony Blair, war criminal, they want to bomb democracy into the Middle East. The whole time, we're losing our democratic rights in our own countries. Our freedoms are under attack. That decision that was made yesterday in the court, it was clearly put out. And what I was surprised that the Metropolitan Police told the truth. I was very surprised they told the truth. They did tell the truth. They said quite clearly they have got no worries with how we will conduct ourselves today. Their concern, which was clearly laid out to the judge by the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Force, was that they will not be able to control the violence that meets us in Tower Hamlets. So we now have on record, it cost us, the legal fees for that was £6,000. So far we've raised £3,000. So we're short of the money. We've got it on pro bono. It's up to, yeah. So we raised £3,000, it's £6,000. But in court, it was worth it. It was worth it, even though we lost, because we now have it concreted, written in the history, that the police cannot enforce the law in that community.